Good evening, and welcome to 7 Minutes. My name is Vladislav Zhitny, and I will be your host tonight. Today, 7 Minutes would like to discuss the history of a very important concept prevalent in our society today, and that can be dated back to the Paleolithic era, 2000 BC. This unifying concept is today described as community. But where did the word community originate? Why is it that the concept of community is so important to us? And essentially, how is it defined? Today, we're going to examine these questions and try to find the answer. According to Webster's New Universal Unabridged Dictionary, the word community means social group of any size whose members reside in a specific locality that share a government and often have a common cultural and historic heritage, or a social, religious, occupational, or any other group sharing common characteristics or interests and is perceived as distinct in some retrospect from a larger society within which it exists. The word community had always existed within the human society, but it became a prevalent concept within the emergence of Roman Empire in 100 BC. The idea was founded on classical republicanism, or the devotion of citizens to common good. Within the concept of classical republicanism, small uniform communities ideology emerged. Classical thinkers like Aristotle observed that human beings are not self-sufficient and are always found living in associations with one another.
Man is a political animal. Humans need each other. They live together, both for security and in order to live well. Good government is possible only in small communities, because in such communities, people are able to know and care for one another, and to discern the common good.
Americans in the 18th century experienced many of the advantages of small communities and their devotion to the common good. Survival in the early America depended on the ability of neighbors and townspeople to work together to overcome obstacles. Official or established religions also fostered homogeneity and a commitment to the common good as defined by that religion. The local church served as a big aspect of everyone's community life, where many kept good records of what had gone on within their holy thresholds. In one of the books, Taste of Heaven, that was written for 95th anniversary of Our Savior's Lutheran Church by Mary Cruz Knudsen, in whose memories this book was published, Taste of Heaven featured numerous recipes that Mrs. Knudsen had witnessed over her lifetime as serving as a church head chef and a committee woman for Patterson, California. She kept an accurate record on how the community evolved as it was different recipes of delicious foods that were brought into their holy place from around the world.
Our Savior's Lutheran Church was organized on June 11, 1911, with 7 families, Norwegian settlers from Midwest, who had come to Patterson to farm on new land in a much better climate. The first services were held in a barn which still stands today, owned by the Patterson Ranch Company. By October 1912, the foundation was laid for their church, and on March 31, 1913, they welcomed their first pastor.
One can see from this excerpt the church was not only a place of worship, but as well as a charity and a uniting agent. This trend was then later passed on to our modern society, where today everyone is encouraged to contribute to the community that they live in. They do so by volunteering, bettering their neighborhoods, by establishing things like neighborhood watches, and organizing events, or simply giving back. Perhaps this trend was given to the human race from our evolving interaction with our evolving environment. Similarly, ants and bees build their hives, helping one another to improve their living, and endlessly contributed to their community. The honeycombs within the hive are like the little communities that represent the society within which bees coexist. Furthermore, if one is familiar with the honey farms, bees build these hives part by part, working together by bringing different fibers and using their slime to make the fibrous cavities where the honey eggs resides. To get a better insight of today's community life, our team interviewed Dr. Marta Miana, a dean in the Department of the Honors College at University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So Dr. Miano, I believe you're the dean in the Honors College?
Yes, I am.
Which is a separate branch at UNLV. So Dr. Miano, what makes UNLV a community of its own?
I think UNLV is a community of its own because it brings together people who share certain values, the values of higher education, the values of trying to make this world a better place through achievement, knowledge, application, and bringing together the hopes and aspirations of people who want to achieve.
So why is the Honors College a different part of the community within UNLV?
I would say that we have the greater UNLV community, and then what the Honors College does is it brings together kind of a subgroup of very high-achieving students who come together to help each other out, to study together, to take particularly challenging courses. And in that sense, I guess, yes, it is a subcommunity.
So, Dr. Miano, I believe you're also a doctor in psychology?
Yes, I am.
So, from a psychological point of view, why are men and women forming communities throughout the history of human nature?
Well, I think it's part of human nature to want to share your life with people who share your values. So communities are formed to support each other, but also to make each other strive for better. So I think it is a very fundamental, primal human motivation, and what we have at UNLV and at the Honors College is a version of that motivation that's organized around achievement.
Community is something that had always existed with us and shall continue to exist. I hope that this report gave you a better understanding of what the word community meant. This was 7 Minutes. I was your host, Vladislav Zhitny. Thank you for watching.